In this video, I'll be talking about extras in visual novels. Not these kind of extras, rather the extras that you actually find inside the visual novel itself. So, these kind of extras. As a reward for reading a visual novel, the readers are given the pretty drawings as well as the nice music and sometimes other extras in a nice extra menu. What does books give you as a reward for having read them? Well, just the satisfaction of having read a good story or something. So, it's not really worth it. First off, I will begin with the most basic and I'm pretty sure most common of these extras, a CG gallery. This is a collection of CGs that you've seen throughout your journey reading through the visual novel. CGs being specific drawings used for certain moments in the visual novel, often being used for big moments of the visual novel and always being used in the sex scene. At least the artists know what to prioritize. The CG gallery is either there at the start of the visual novel, or you can unlock it once you've completed one round of the visual novel. And the CGs you've unlocked are the ones that you've read so far, at least typically. So, yeah, these are basically just some really good digital art books with some really damn good artwork. For some reason, I bought this thing, a physical art book, and well, considering that most of the artwork in here is also in the visual novel, yeah, why did I do that? Now, the basic way that these are set up is that you have the different CGs that you can click on to view, and then by left clicking on your mouse button or clicking enter, you go through different variants of the CG. Some of them are a bit more fancy though. For instance, letting you zoom in on the CG in cases where the artwork is a higher resolution than the visual novel itself. Mono Happy End is a great example of a visual novel that goes above and beyond to do cool things with the CG gallery, being able to zoom in on the CG as well as not only having different variants of the CGs, but also being able to mix the different variants of all of the elements within a CG. On top of this, it also has a button which lets you save the artwork in 1440p, which is a much higher resolution than the visual novel itself is at, as that is only in 720p. And then there are just some barebone ones, which after a Mono Happy End just kind of disappoints me now. Then for the music gallery, this is actually quite simple. You click on the thing and it plays music. Here you have things like the background music used in the visual novel, as well as music used in the opening and the ending. This is a very common feature in visual novels, and it's probably fairly easy to implement. I mean, hell, even small developers like Nintendo manages to implement music galleries into some of their releases like Mario 3D All-Stars. So, I mean, if they can release that for such a small game, then, pretty much anyone can. Of course, to have a music gallery, you need music that people actually want to listen to. Yeah, this isn't it. Visual novels by companies like Neil or Norn or Winged Cloud that don't really put a lot of effort into their releases, well, they don't really have music worth making a gallery for, so they just don't have them. One extra feature that I think is somewhat common, but I would say is less so than the two previous ones, is a type of scene gallery. Basically any scene in the visual novel that the creator thinks you might want to revisit. This can, for instance, be comedy scenes, or the flying circus scenes in Aokana. But of course, the developers know that we're all a bunch of degenerates. So the most common type of scene in the scene gallery is of course the H scenes. Then there are the movie galleries. This is primarily just the opening and the ending of the visual novel. Well, some has multiple openings or multiple endings, but yeah, this is mainly the place where you can rewatch them. You know, if you don't bother searching them up on YouTube. Well, I guess that won't really work on visual novels with really spicy openings that are a bit too spicy for YouTube, though. Then there are collections of H animation. Yeah, some visual novels figured out that having a simple animation for their H scenes was a thing that people liked. Some does this well, others not so well. Anyways, this gallery is for people who want the H scene but don't feel like actually revisiting the scene and actually reading it. Now we've reached the area where there are things that are somewhat rare in visual novels. Sprite Viewers. The Sprite Viewers is basically getting to have control of the visuals that govern the majority of the visual novel, so the sprites as well as the background. Typically here you get to choose whatever background you want, as well as which characters you want, their positions, poses, clothes, expressions, and whatever else you want. While this feature is really cool, it isn't really something that I've used a lot of time on personally, and I would assume that that is true for most people as well. It's kind of a thing that makes you go, cool, this is a nice feature, and then you never return to look at it again. This is a bit of a pity though, considering how much meme potential it has, with so many of them having the option to write text yourself. The visual novel community really needs to up their meme game in my opinion, and this is a no-brainer. Hell, Aokana even comes with a thing where you can import whatever background you want. Anyways, it's a cool feature, but a kind of thing that don't see much use. I myself is part of this problem, but anyways, yeah, we should make more memes. And lastly, there are just some random shit that the developers decided to add as extras, like Euphoria having staff commentary, Ponkotsu Akuma, which comes with mini scenarios, rough drafts, and voice commentary. At least the Japanese version does, I'm not sure about the English version. And then there's Fruit of Grisaya having a download thing for system voices and wallpapers. So yeah, just some random stuff that doesn't really fit into the other categories. So yeah, this has been a video about extras in visual novels. If you liked the video, you could leave a like. If you didn't like it, well, I'm not that good at making YouTube videos just yet. Anyways, I plan on continuing to make more videos on visual novels, so you could subscribe if you want to continue watching that. And I also plan to branch out to also talk about things like anime and manga.